Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. My name is Anuschka Alborzian. I'm an empowerment health coach and healer.
I am Samar Tehrani. I'm a behavioral health professional. I'm an addictionologist.
And today we're going to be talking about intuition. And, there's really two main types of it. And I really wanted to just focus on like the beginning aspect of it because, we all have intuition, right?
We do. And we've been asked questions about it. And this is the reason this week we're going to cover intuition, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like it's come up a few times. We've talked about it a few times. So we just figured, this week we're going to just cover, we got 3 videos, 3 daily tips for you. And so we figured might as well. And one of the biggest things that that I'll have people look at when they're talking about their intuition is look at those times where you were like, oh, I knew that it was going to be that way, or I just had a gut feeling, or I had a feeling, right? So I'm sure you've had experiences right? And so that's just like the first way of distinguishing, because you're either going to be knower, like you just know things, there's no logic to it, you just know. And then there's people that, it just comes and, it's just like, I don't know how I know this, I just know. And then there are times where you'll feel it. There will be gut feelings, sensations within the body, however that looks like. It could be different parts. They say gut feeling, but I know clients that feel it in their throat, in their chest, and so it really it's very individual. And so the first step is having the awareness of, okay, am I more of a knower or am I more of a feeler? There's going to be one that's more dominant. Now, you can have both, right? I have both. And my dominant one is I'm a feeler. What about you, Samar?
I'm a feeler too. I mean, I think that that hindsight that we normally say, oh, I knew it, sometimes we have a tendency to think, well, of course I'm going to say that now, because now that I recognize the result, now I'm I knew, right? So I have, when I started to read, I've never been coached with this stuff. And I have to say that now I understand the importance of having a coach and having somebody walk you through it. Because when I started to really focus in on intuition and started to really read about it and because you can really kind of read about it and start to tap into it, because it's our natural tendencies. I mean, everybody has it, right? So little by little, you just kind of get to know it. But I have to tell you that at some point, because I had focused on it so much and gotten to know myself so much, and the feelings, right? I would walk into a place and I'd be like, oh, this place has kind of an odd energy. Or, and I would walk into a place and it would I would feel uplifted. And I can totally tell by the way I interact, or even people's, intuitively people's energy I pick up on, right? So I either come alive or I shut down. And then based on that interaction, I know how, I know that intuitively I'm reacting. So I pay attention to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and it's interesting because one of the things that I read upon a lot is, again, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I love this guy. And one of the things he says is, we all have it. And as babies, before we have language, is when it's super, super strong. And so that's why you'll see animals, they have these instincts like you wouldn't believe. We have it too. It's that language all of a sudden comes into play, and feelings and knowings and intuition pretty much get put behind us. And so we don't actually we don't have the experience, and we don't have the practice from childhood. Otherwise we'd be masters at it.
Right. I read once, Anuschka, this was so interesting, and this is when I started to tap into it more. I had a baby niece, and at the time, I mean, she's, a teenager now. At the time, I was reading about intuition, and, and they talked about how baby humans, right? Their intuitive sense is how they interact with the world. So then everything that they talked about in this article that I was reading, I would, look at her and so for example, if somebody would go up to her and she intuitively didn't, you know, connect with them, they close their eyes or they turn their head, they behave as if this person doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or if intuitively they connect to someone, they don't take their gaze off of them. That's how they pull you in, right? As babies. So there are ways that humans interact intuitively before you have language, right? And then that's when I had like my buy-in, right? And then I like went all the way. So part of the reason that I think it's so important to be coached through this is that as adults, sometimes we scare ourselves. Like once you really tap into your intuition, you're like, oh my God, you know, I mean, but it's kind of scary because we're so detached from it in a sense, right? So we don't know it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I tell you, there was a time that I backed off of my intuition. I mean, I had gotten so strong into it, and then I would talk about it, and people would look at me weird, you know. So, so I think like what you do, coaching people, is so important.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited to learn.
Yeah, then that's why I was like, this is going to be perfect, you know, especially we have the 3, you know, days. And so tomorrow we'll actually talk more about the expanded and contracted and do an exercise. For now, I just really wanted to talk about really just that's the first step is, am I more of a knower or am I more of a feeler? And so that's really what we really wanted to have you focus on. And then awareness. Like everything else, awareness is key, and just being aware of when that first thought hits or that first feeling comes, you know, before you start analyzing it, because as soon as you start analyzing it, then it's no longer intuition.
It's gone.
Yeah. So keep that in mind until tomorrow's tip, and we'll get more deeper into this.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.